Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Tonight's venue, it's been in the news a lot lately. 80 miles north of Los Angeles and the oldest permanent road course in America, older than Sebring and older than Road America. Willow Springs' Big Willow course earned its reputation for being the fastest road in the West. Opened in 1953 with Ken Miles being one of the driving forces behind its development, Willow's been under the stewardship of the Huth family for over 60 years. And while the circuit, which has not changed one iota since its inception, has remained a favorite of many for its long sleeping corners, big elevation changes, and high speeds, the facility itself over those 60 years has really fallen into disrepair. And after the family patriarch died in 2015, it's really dropped off. But while a new venture capital overlord, the future, and with a new venture capital overlord, the future looks decidedly uncertain, let's say. At the real life Willow Springs, it's still bright, shiny, and new here on iRacing, where we're ready to kick off season number 25 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Touring Car Cup, presented by the SCCA Foundation here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsburg. Joining me in the announce booth, as always, Larry Lefty McLeod with Jonathan Grabowski back behind the scenes, bringing us all the best views of tonight's action. And so, Larry, I was checking the calendar, and it's almost exactly 1 year. Actually, in 4 days ago was 1 year since we named the season 24 winners here in the Touring Car Cup. And what do we have to look forward to? What kind of changes do we have this season here in season 25?
All right, yes, Greg, season 25, besides kicking off at an uncertain track, or at least certain about that, we've got your TCRs are back in full. This is going to be great. We haven't seen those in a long time.
2 seasons, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and then in addition, we've got the GR86s are back. So really a good array of cars. Lots of great drivers are back in this series. Those in the past that have dominated, like, I don't know, Eric Violette, who had some success in TCRs back in the day. He's going to be running back in those tonight. Bailey Petrowski, we've seen what he can do. Obviously, in some of the prototypes, we've seen what he can do with GT3s. Now they can see what he can do with a front drive
Yeah,
car.
front wheel drive car, yeah.
Yeah, this will be just fascinating. But TCRs, it's not an open class. It's one car. Everybody's in the Hyundai. So it's going to be a level playing field for everyone. This should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, indeed. And as you said, the GR86 Cup cars are back. And this is the first time since season 23 that we've had the TCR entries. And I think we've got a pretty stout field tonight. We've got 9 racers here, both from D2D, from Orion Race Team as well, and a number of other very strong folks here. Our favorite friendly neighborhood racing driver is here as well, but pretty stacked field over on the GR86 Cup side of the house, known as the Club Sport class here. Racing tonight, the way you'll be able to pick them out, all the GR86 Cup cars, of course, they're going to have the yellowish windshield banners and mirrors, and you can pick them up there on the timing ticker as such. And then our TCR cars, they actually have the blue numbers, but I think by the time we get through just a couple minutes of this race, you're going to be able to pick out the 4-door Hyundais from the 2-door Toyotas pretty easily there. And so our drivers are currently out on their 15-minute qualifying session, where we do give them 4 attempts, 4 flying laps to set their fastest laps at this very fast racetrack. It is 2.5 miles. It is 9 turns, and racers are lapping in the low 1 minute 20 range. Absolutely insane here. But Larry, we were talking as you were opening about Eric Violette and his love for the TCR cars. Of course, I think he really came to the fore here in the TCC in an Audi, if I remember correctly. But of course, tonight it's in the Hyundais. He's in the green room. Let's talk to our season 23 champion.
All right, Eric Violette joining us here pre-race, and I appreciate him adjusting his qualifying schedule for this late on-air interview. But Eric, TCRs are back. You've got to be excited.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've been trying to promote this, trying to get good showing here. You know, the admins didn't know, but this track is probably not the best for the TCR, just with the curbs.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. How deadly are the curbs specifically in TCR?
Horrible. Yeah, I actually reported this to iRacing. There's other people were talking about some other tracks, I think Montreal or something like that, but I hadn't seen anybody talk about this track. But pretty much every curb around here, like I was even saying turn 1 was safe. People were saying they've got damage off of turn 1. And
wow.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I can't say enough about the racing. I think just some of the people that haven't been in TCR before were just on the practice. We were doing some paint swapping, and I think people are realizing just how racy these cars are. You know, everybody wants to say, oh, wrong wheel drive and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, going around by yourself and hot lapping, not the most fun in the world. Racing is a blast in these things, because you can really get side by side. You can really lean on each other a little more. It's not like a rear wheel drive where you look at the guy the wrong way and they're around.
So are we going to be seeing a lot of strategies of either saving fuel or saving tires, or is this going to be a race from the green flag all the way to checker?
And let's see how it unfolds, but it's going to be tires. You got to save the tires, but track position is key. So it's that age-old thing, right? Save your tires, save fuel, don't lose positions. I mean, okay. Yeah, go fast, but do all those other things too. So yeah, it's tire management is really important in this car, not just for this track. Every track, tire management is key. You know, you're asking a lot of those front tires. You know. They make you go, they make you stop, they make you turn. The backs are just there to keep the bumper from dragging around.
Yeah, well, this has certainly had in the past been your specialty. It's great to see it back, but you've got some competition here in your class, as well as we'll get to GR and how that class is stacking up. I want to talk a little about TCRs. When you bring a guy over, your own teammate, you bring him over from the LMP2s. He's run obviously the GTPs. Bailey Petrowski and the level he brings, but now to front wheel drive. What's that mean, and what's his transition been like?
Bailey. I feel like I'm second fiddle here. Yeah, no, Bailey's a great guy. It's really great. We can bounce ideas off on setup. Not to say I can't do that with Chris, Aaron, and David. We do that quite a bit. But you know, Bailey is a special guy. He's super nice. It's a great teammate. Super quick. He didn't buy the car until, I don't know, Tuesday or Wednesday right before practice, and he was pretty much already on pace. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
So it's really great to have him in here, and looks like the Orion guys stepped it up in practice. They were struggling quite a bit, and you know, as I told you guys before, I really try to help this league, this series especially, because you know, if people aren't enjoying it, they're not going to stay, right?
Yeah.
So I've been a little bit of a cheerleader too. Like, just get through this race. This track's an anomaly. These cars are usually really tough. Right now, that it feels like the suspension's made of glass on this track. So if you see people, you know, not touching the curbs a whole lot, that's why. So
Okay.
side by side can get a little sketchy through here, because normally, you know, you can dip a tire in the dirt. You can put half the car in the dirt when you're going side by side. But now you got to give the guy a little more room, because he's not going to go there.
Yeah, well, we'll watch the GRs do all the wheel dropping, picking up dirt, bringing dirt back on the track just for you guys, as you're trying to avoid all that. But different races, but we'll keep that in mind of what we're watching here tonight. But we're excited. I think the mixture of these two classes is going to be a really fun season.
Yep, it's turning out so far to be pretty good. Hopefully, it's just as exciting as it was in practice. We haven't ever run this combination before, so it's a little bit of an experiment. And I mean, half the people didn't even know the TCR was the faster class. It's like, yeah, we jumped in. It's like, wow, I think it's about 6 seconds a lap faster, something like that. Maybe about 5.
Yeah.
5
just almost 7 tonight.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yep, it'll be fun.
All right. Well, race is about to get going. Any other comments you want to make here before you head to the grid?
I'll just shout out to my wife, love you, and hopefully I'll be talking to you guys after the race.
Let's hope so. All right. Awesome. We'll see you in the race. Eric Violette, D2D Sim Racing, ready to head to grid. He's on the pole.
All right, there you go. Congratulations to him on taking pole, and we'll run down the starting order as we get ready to start this race. Of course, we will have a split start. We'll have our TCR cars, the faster class, up front. Then we'll have our GR86 Cup cars. Larry, because the TCR field is that much shorter, and tell you what, just to save your voice, I'll run through the whole starting order here for you tonight. Starting on pole tonight, so he'll be on the inside, driver's left on the front row from D2D Sim Racing, with a qualifying time of 1 minute 20.960. Eric Violette, Bailey Petrowski, his teammate from D2D Sim Racing, just a 10th off of his times, will start on the outside of row number 1. Leo Dragoda from the Orion race team will start on the inside of row number 2 alongside his teammate Travis Schwenke. Chris Thorman from D2D Sim Racing will start in 5th position on the inside of row number 3 with Mariano Barrios from Friendly Neighborhood Racing. He will start 6th. Aaron Beaver from D2D will start 7th alongside his D2D teammate David Payton. And then we've got, it's not Panhydra Day, it's Marlon Jones. He will start 9th today for Lead Paw Racing. As we move over to our GR86 Cup cars, the Club Sport class, Josh Vidal from HSR Phantom Racing is your pole sitter, qualifying time of 125.8. He's going to start right alongside Sector 5 Racing's Brian Bennett. Then on row number 2, we've got Andrew Sharp here from is it Rapid Theft Racing? Oh my. Andrew Sharp is going to start 3rd with Chuck Lobano from Frito Sports starting in 4th position. On the outside, or probably inside of row number 3, it's going to be Dale Maxwell from Slow Bros Racing alongside his teammate Michael Klimovich. And I'm sure that we've got the Klim Club here in attendance. Tom Jenkins from Midfield Motorsports will start on the inside of row number 4 with Robert Schwenkler from The Wrong Stuff. Good to see some of our TWS racers coming back here for this series. Schwenkler is going to start 8th. Jeff Jacobs from the SCCA Foundation, our presenting sponsor, will start 9th with David Klimovich from Slow Bros starting in 10th. Then on row number 6, we've got Lucas Dragoda from Dragon Sport Racing starting alongside Frito Sports' John Casey. And then picking up the rear, starting lucky 13th tonight from Flying Tortoise Motorsports, it's Russ Ruddock, that Greg Ginsburg guy. Casa de Amigos Racing not fielding an entry here tonight.
He's got the secret speed, but we're not going to let him get in the race. He has to talk for the next 60 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Hot air will make me go faster around here. So, you know, it was interesting, Larry, of course, as we're on the pace up, hearing Eric talk about those issues with the curbs on the TCR cars. And as, you know, we were watching here, the issue, I think, lies in the fact that there's a lot of drop-off right at the apex of most of the corners. There's a big drop-off on the backside of the curbing down to the dirt, and if the cars go over that curbing, I guess probably because of such short sidewalls, they actually end up bending the rims as they come back across. Whether it's intentional or not, or whether it's a bug on iRacing's part or not, obviously it's something that all these races have to look out for.
The reality is the real-world TCR cars are kind of known for their durability. Those things get beaten pretty good. They are not necessarily a delicate car, so I think it's something iRacing just needs to address.
Yeah, indeed. And so you can see here really extreme elevation changes as track rises up towards what used to be known as the Budweiser porch here, the Budweiser balcony, pardon me. It is now just known as the balcony as the cars head back down. And I think also on the TCR side, you know, Eric was talking about the importance of the front tires on those cars. Although every one of our racers tonight over the course of the 60-minute race is going to need to take a pit stop, those TCR cars, which are probably going to be beating the heck out of those front tires, aren't going to have the ability really to go and make a tire change because, you know, we said the lap times are only 1:20, and that pit lane is pretty darn short.
Yeah, it's going to make for tough amount of time allowed, so they're all going to be maybe trying to preserve those tires, and not easy to do on a front drive TCR car.
All right, as we see the Toyotas here, the Toyotas have their own issues with the curbing. I think we saw some of that during Eric's interview. Is there still kind of roly-poly, have a lot of weight transfer, and if they hit some of the curbing wrong, they could end up just, I don't know, bounding through the air on two wheels or maybe on their roof. As our TCR car is coming through the sweeper, turns 8 and 9, there's a little dip right at the apex right there at turn number 9 as they come onto the front straight. Pace car now makes its way to the pit lane, turning the field over to Eric Violette, our live starter from the SCCA Foundation, is looking over the field now. And when they see what they like, they'll give the green. And there we go. We're racing here at Willow Springs Raceway in Rosamond, California, as Eric Violette leads the field down into the left-hander here, turn number 1 for the very first time. And Petrowski's going to try to sweep around the outside, can't make up the ground, and he's now going to fall back into third as Leo Dragota slots into second position. Our GR86 Cup cars, the Club Sport cars, they now take the green as well. Josh Vidal, Brian Bennett there on the front row. And Bennett didn't look like he got a great start, Brian, but Brian, there we go, starting early. Larry, but great move there from the outside. Looked like he just got on the brakes a lot later than our pole sitter Bennett, and he's going to slot into, or probably our pole sitter Vidal, and he's going to slot into the lead.
Yeah, good job there for Bennett to hold that line and be able to take that lead through this long sweeping turn 2. Let's see how long it stands, though. Doesn't look like Vidal wants to go away. He's going to stay right on the rear quarter, forcing Bennett to stay wide here as they run up the hill here all the way to the balcony. Now they finally slot together, as now it looks like Andrew Sharp's going to try and make a move on the outside.
And we'll see here as they now drop back down the hill through what they call the downhill here, oddly enough, turn number 6. And then a pretty longish straightaway with a couple bends in the way as they head back down to turn 8, down towards that high-speed right-hand sweeper here. And Larry, I would think, especially this long straightaway here, that there would be a pretty good opportunity if you could get under the wing of the car in front of you, whether it be on the GR side or on the TCR side. Pretty good opportunity to use the draft here coming into the final 2 corners and maybe work for a pass as you come onto the front straight.
Yeah, very fast average speeds run here. Turn 5 all the way down to the sweeper there at 9, and then all the way back up to 1. Great drafting opportunities. You can do some fuel saving there if you need to. The issue is, in some of these long sweepers, especially the TCRs, they will slide around a lot, if you get up underneath the back of somebody, you can actually wear your front tires a little more, being the trailing car in a TCR. So let's see what kind of spacing these TCR cars leave each other. The GR86 cars, though, probably going to be tight racing all around.
Yeah, indeed. And, I think as Mariano Barrios had some issues there coming out of turn 3 and up the hill in this section of the course right here. He ended up dropping back, losing 2 positions. So dropped Barrios and the TCR cars now back into 8th position as we're watching this battle for the lead. Brian Bennett from Sector 5 Racing in the white number 71. And Josh Vidal there in the number 26 machine in the Aquamarine HSR Phantom Racing car. And you can see how long this straightaway is. And Larry, it's a good thing there aren't any threshold braking corners really here at Willow Springs, because God knows finding any kind of landmarks to use as a marker to brake would be very difficult. It's just all desert.
Yeah, a quick replay here of Barrios, who lost a couple spots here in these opening laps. You can see him here going around that turn 3, just runs wide a little bit, turning a little hot, needed to use a little bit more brakes, but manages to avoid getting some contact. He did, however, have to hop that curve there at the inside of 4. That could have caused a little damage. We'll keep our eyes on his pace.
And you could see there, Larry, as the rear end started to walk out on him, not a lot of room there in that section of the course there as it moves, as it transitions from a right-hander to a left-hander very quickly for him to kind of catch the car. And he ended up having to catch it pretty much on a dirt berm a couple feet off the track surface here, as appears now that Andrew Sharp, Chuck Labano have made up some ground on our 2 lead cars, and a bit of a breakaway here now in Club Sport, as the top 4 have opened up almost 3 seconds on Andrew Sharp, who's currently running back and forth. As we jump over to TCR and taking a quick look to the outside there, that was Bailey Petrowski in the Aquamarine D2D car. Looking on Leo Dragotta. And, Larry, we talked about how quick Violet has been in TCR cars. And again, he was our season 23 TCR champion the last time that we ran the TCR cars. But Bailey Petrowski this week in practice, and they had practice sessions on Tuesday night and Thursday night. Both Petrowski and Violet ran identical 121.3s. Now, Petrowski's already there. He's gotten down to a 121.31, and again, the qualifying times are even faster than that.
Yeah, these guys are definitely moving at a pretty good pace here this early in the race. As Air Violet's really setting the pace right up there, but Leo's not going anywhere. He's not going to go away by any means. Not going to let these guys get any kind of advantage on him.
All right, let's jump back over to Club Sport, and you'll have to bear with us. We had some issues with the actual paint or the liveries on some of these cars, and I think we're getting them all squared away right now. So a couple changes there, but still great battle here in the top 4. Chuck Labano, I think, really benefiting from that draft on the straightaways, able to just kind of tuck in and make. He doesn't appear to be quite as quick as the top 3. Larry on the top side of the course, but obviously makes it up as they come down the hill and then come into this section here with turn 8. Interesting that they've got and that was over at turn 9 where they've got the big pylon there right at the apex, and you can see the dip, and not enough to upset these GR86 cars that have been kind of notorious for extreme weight transfer.
Yeah, they just tip, and there you go, running a little bit wide there is I think that's Sharp himself.
Yeah, that was our leader, Brian Bennett, I think, actually.
Bennett, you're right.
Yeah, that went off and just straightened up the wheel, and you don't lose all that much time apparently through the dirt as we go a little bit further back in the field, and this is Michael Klimovich and Lucas Dragotta. Dragotta in the white and orange on driver's left on the inside, with Klimovich in the purple Slowbros. And Larry, that was our leader right there, Brian Bennett.
Yeah. Wow. We're going to have to catch a replay on that one. because he was leading that train. We were just talking about how he went off in turn 1. This will be the turn 1 issue, I think, right here as he's coming up the front straightaway. Makes that turn in a little late and gets out in the dirt, but we got to now see what happens as they came out of 2 down into turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, and you saw, Larry, as they were coming into 1, how much compression he was getting out of the front suspension going in there. I think maybe running a little bit too soft for the conditions.
We're still on the replay here, so let's see now as he hits the brakes and turn-ins to make this left-hander here at turn 3, which is the tighter corner here, tighter than a 1, and he just starts to lose that back end. And luckily for the other guys, he stays out of the way, but now he's got to wait for the rest of the field to go by. That's really going to hurt his track position.
Yeah, indeed. So he drops down to 11th now out of 13 racers.
Wow. Now that leaves Josh Vidal now as our leader in club sport, just ahead of Andrew Sharp and Chuck Labano. So big changeup.
And I'd like to congratulate our race steward who is racing in his own class now. All right, a little bit further back in the field, this is Michael Klimovich with Dale Maxwell, and of course Klimovich we had just seen him in that battle with Lucas Dragota. Dragota's gotten by Dale Maxwell as well, and we find Klimovich now sitting back 6th in club sport. Maxwell in 5th, Lucas Dragota ahead in 4th, just off the podium. And I think Lucas Dragota making up, I would say he's making up ground on the top 4, or now top 3 actually, but it's still about, I think about 6 seconds, almost half a lap.
Yeah, he's got some time still to go, but he's the big mover so far in the field, picking up a bunch of spots here in his opening laps. Really hurt by his poor qualifying. But now we're starting to see what his real race pace is like. He's going to try and see if he can get somewhere up into that top group. But right now he's got a big gap to make up.
And should mention also, if you'd like to join the Touring Car Cup, of course, this is round number 1 of 8. Registration is going to be open through the first half of the season, through round number 4. If you'd like to see yourself on the grid, head over to xmsracing.com/series/TCC.
All right, well, Eric Violette now, as they get into some traffic, has opened up a bit of a gap over the Orion driver there, Leo Dragota, and then that's Bailey Petrowski in that third car. The 2 that are paired together, you can see on the screen there, that is Dragota and Petrowski. Is now Violet's about a second and a half up there in front of them, as now they're working their way past Tom Jenkins. Russ Ruddock will be next.
Yeah, and Jenkins and Ruddock, they were very helpful there in leaving the door open, and it really ended up helping out Dragota. Petrowski had a little bit more trouble making it through in that section there, as the track was moving back from left to right there, and now allows Dragota to open up about a half second, which again I assume on this bottom portion of the course probably going to compress down to maybe a quarter of a second as they come into the sweeper.
Yeah, it always tightens up a little bit here. That is long, flat out stretch, and then you're just lifting into the first part of the sweeper. A little bit of drag of the brake to the second part, and you're just sketchily, dangerously holding on all the way around that last apex to the outside edge, right at pit in. It is a blast to drive, but it just feels like you're going to drive off the edge of the earth, because also the track just wants to tighten up, and you're still going way too fast.
And Larry, the problems continue for Brian Bennett. I think that was Bennett right there that we saw go off at turn 1, just as Dragota and Petrowski were working their way through.
Now it's, Petrowski now is the line on the outside to 2 becomes the inside at 3. But Leo a little bit more aggressive, turning in, and they may have actually touched.
I don't think they were, Larry, but Petrowski much earlier on the brakes than Dragota. But Dragota just drove it in so deep, and it looked as though Petrowski just tried to get the car to rotate on him, and it over-rotated. Let's take a look. It was close, but I don't think any contact. It was really close.
And there's a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. I think because Bailey, may have broken early, but then got off the brakes a little bit and kind of missed his turn in. And I think Dragota was expecting him to turn in a little sharper down to the curb line, just didn't happen. So
Didn't happen.
we'll see how that plays out. We'll see if the stewards take a look at it. So far, they don't appear to be. It wasn't much contact. It was just a light, typical, as Eric Violet put, typical paint swapping things you find in touring cars.
All right, so it is Violet, Dragota, Petrowski, your top three in TCR. It is Josh Vidal, Chuck Labano, and Andrew Sharp now, almost 7 seconds in arrears. Your top three in Club Sport, the GR86 Cup races. And you know, Larry, we're already working lap number 10 in this 60-minute race. We expect the pit window to open up for the TCR cars in another 3 laps. It's actually a very large pit window for both classes. For TCR opening up around lap 13, extending all the way to lap number 30. And for the Club Sport cars, opening up at lap 14, they're currently working their 9th lap.
Oh, this battle's great. Look at this now as Chuck Labano is going to try and use the outside, maybe a little out and under tuck in. Andrew Sharp now the 3rd car in this train. He's just watching what is Labano going to do. Labano left himself into a bad braking point, but now Sharp's going to try and use the draft on the front straightaway.
Yeah, and you know, you notice how as they came through 8 and started to set up for 9, Labano tried squaring off 9 a lot more, drove a much greater distance, and actually ended up losing about 4 car lengths.
Yeah, you just got to get out of that rhythm, and you missed that crisp turn-in spot.
Yeah.
Vidal stayed home and managed to do it, open up that gap while Labano had to recover there a little bit. But not enough for Sharp to get by Labano, so they stay in this order here as they're working now lap 9.
All right, as they start to work their way up the hill here, now coming into turn number 3, into the rabbit's ear. So, Larry, the only time I've had the opportunity to drive Willow Springs, the big Willow track, was in one of the former Long Beach Grand Prix Toyota Camry pace cars. And took a couple laps in it, you know. So you
Better
know,
than a rental car.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit better. It's actually got a nice suspension on it and a cage.
Yeah. Nice.
Unfortunately, still an automatic transmission. No Camry corners though. The bumper caps were all in good shape.
Nice.
You know, and you know, these are much smaller, much lighter, much more nimble cars than that Toyota was. But it was a pretty neat track to race. Again, very quick. Just, you know, again, no hard braking zones here.
Take a look at what's going on as the TCR leaders are past the Club Sport leaders on the front straight. Violet and Dragota side by side now, as Dragota's closed the gap up once he was able to get past and sort of shake Bailey Petrowski. Dragota now on the move. He's aggressive. The question is, how long can he keep this up before he starts burning through those front tires?
Yeah. Where's Dean Dibdall when you need him?
Well, lesson can all be learned from Dean.
Yes.
He's probably watching tonight. Let's hope he is. Let's see his homework to do.
Yeah. he's I think he's is he a sophomore in high school now? Maybe, I don't know.
We're all a little sophomoric, aren't we?
Yeah. At least sophomoric, yes. Gosh. I was looking back because I thought Dean had won a championship in this series at one point. I'm trying to find when it was. I'll find it eventually. Oh, hey, excellent, Dean Dibdall. Oh yeah, Dean was your back when we were only running the MX-5 Cup cars.
Yeah.
The season 20 AM class champion.
Yep, and that couple seasons back, that guy, a kid I call him, but that guy in a real world Miata is pretty fast these days.
Yes,
so,
yes, he is.
Yeah, if you're in the south, in the east, or wherever they're going to be next, yeah, keep your eye on him.
No, we're gonna have to get him away from racing with that rocket agency organization.
Yeah, exactly.
And, get him some real competition.
I know some people at SCCA we could talk to get him to win some races.
I think we do.
All right, what a battle here for the lead, though. in the GR86 Cups. You've got Vidal, Labano, Sharp, and that right there is the Sharp and Labano battling it out for second as a couple of the TCRs start making their way through there. I think that was Aaron Beaver from D2D, and I want to say it might have been David Payton also.
I think it was Payton directly ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's much harder to pick them out when they're not racing Ferraris.
Yeah, well, when you see when we get the paints results, you see their actual paints. The whole D2D team looks like a bunch of M&Ms. Everybody's car is a solid color. You know, obviously Vidal's the purple one, Bailey's the teal one, but then there's, you know, a bright green one, there's a bright blue one, there's everything, and they're just like a bunch of Skittles running around. We'll get that fixed so you can all enjoy what we're enjoying.
Ask and you shall receive.
Yeah.
Just be glad. Their ringleader isn't here. I understand that Bobby Childs is off moving this week and couldn't join us.
Oh, hopefully
so somebody packed up his sim rig and sent it to I don't know, Croatia or something.
Yeah, well, hopefully he's still watching in tonight. Hi, Bobby. Hopefully the move goes well and you can join us again next week. Get your sim rig all set up. Which, Greg, what race is next week?
As a matter of fact, Larry, great timing. Next week, it is going to be, I believe, why do we have it listed as the Sports Car Series Round 1? It's the Ricmotech World Challenge, I believe, is it Imola? I will get that for you, Larry. You caught me off guard, and I think part of the issue is the information we have in our guide isn't exactly correct. So
that's all right. We do believe it is
one more thing I should have verified before I came in here tonight.
Yeah, it will be at least
here we go.
Challenge.
Oh, I got it. Ricmotech World Challenge.
Yeah.
Round number 1, Fuji next week. 75 minutes. That's for our GTP, LMP2, and GT3 racers. And if you'd like to join them on grid, you can go to xmsracing.com/series/RWC.
Yeah, we just finished up the last season last week, so looking forward to the new one starting next week.
That's right. And round number 2 of the TCC here, we're going to be heading to, I think, another track. I don't want to say that's similar to this. It's very different in many regards to Big Willow, but I think still a great track for the GR86 and the TCR cars. Going to be heading to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in 2 weeks for another 60-minute race. So we're going to have a couple of 75-minute, I don't want to call them enduros, but slightly longer races mixed in over the course of this 8-week season. We'll also be hitting at some point along the way Portland International Raceway, another track I adore, Mosport, and gonna spend a little time out on the West Coast where you're doing Laguna Seca and following up Laguna Seca with Long Beach.
Getting our California time in this season.
Well, again, had to. Well, I guess Long Beach now is a Honda event. I was going to say, got to bring the GR86s to the home of the Toyota Long Beach Grand Prix, but it's no longer the Toyota race.
It is not.
All right,
I can use a little California air and get out of this Michigan air. Maybe it'll help clear my throat.
Yeah, I was going to say it might be better to get a little bit of humidity in the air for your throat there. There's a great battle going on right now between Eric Violette and Leo Dragota, D2D versus Orion here as they work their way to the most portion of this circuit on lap number 16 and work their way down the hill. And Larry, Violette and Dragota, as they work their way through traffic a couple laps ago, they haven't completely dispatched with Bailey Petrowski, but you can see there the Aqua number 115 of Petrowski now almost a second and a half in their rear view mirrors, or I guess in the case of these cars, their rear view LCD displays.
Yeah, I don't think it's over yet for Bailey. I think he's just biding his time, knowing that we're only a third of the way through this thing. He can just manage that gap, and there's a pit stop to come. So he'll be back up in this thing in no time. Meanwhile, his teammates, There's all three of them there actually in that shot. Chris Thorman, David Payton, Aaron Beaver, all of them running for D2D. So Aaron Beaver and David Payton running nose to tail into turn one. You know, this track, Greg, you mentioned Mosport coming up on the calendar. This track reminds me of Mosport. Big, fast flowing, but it's like the opposite when it comes to elevation change. The hairpin at Mosport is at the bottom of the hill.
I would say down the hill. Here it's up at the very top.
Yeah. It's like the opposite, but otherwise very similar sort of feel to that place. It's like here, where everything is just sort of these long, sweepy corners.
All right, well, here we go, Larry. Things are heating up once again in the fight and club sport here for the lead as Chuck Labano, who had been just biding his time back in third, works his way clear of both Vidal and Sharp. Let's take a look. He'd already gotten by Andrew Sharp. Let's see the move that he makes coming down into turn one on Josh Vidal. Does he just drive by him on the outside as Sharp tries to push him through?
I think so.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a good move there, but I don't know how long it lasted.
Now let's take a look here. This is another replay. This isn't live action yet as they start to work their way up the hill into turn four. And big off there once again for Labano, who now finds himself back in third, maybe? Yep, back in third.
Wow.
So what he taketh, he quickly giveth away.
Yep. And again, Andrew Sharp running wide there at the final corner. Does that quite often. Meanwhile, Vidal seems to be hanging two tires the exit of one every time. So these guys all have their favorite spots to put a little dirt back on the track.
All right, let's jump back over to TCR here. Larry, is Violet and Dragota open up a little bit more of a gap even since the last time we checked in. Petrowski now about another quarter of a second off the pace of the top two. And, you know, Dragota looks to have, I don't want to say he's got a better handling car, but he's definitely working the front tires a lot harder, I think, than Violet is right now. And, you know, as you mentioned, whether or not that's going to serve him well when we get to the end of this race, I don't know. You can see there, even as you come through that very wide sweeping turn two, how much of a load you're putting on the front tires of these TCR cars. I don't know if Violet was consciously trying not to get down to the apex through there and maybe cut a couple feet off the corner, but it looked like the car was definitely struggling for grip through there.
They're running at a pretty good pace, though, continuing to run in the 21s. Just a few tenths off their fastest lap of the race. So these guys are blistering around this place right now. As they'll be coming up on another lap of the club sports here pretty soon.
Yeah, looks like just a couple corners ahead. And, you know, and Eric mentioned that I think they were all a little surprised about how much of a differential in pace there was between the TCR and the club sport cars. And I don't know if that really should have come as much of a surprise. I mean, what we saw the last two seasons, Larry, is that the MX-5 Cup cars and the GR86 Cup cars, Dragota runs a little wide. The GR86 and the MX-5 Cup cars were, at most circuits, very similar in lap times, albeit making it in very different ways. But you know, the TCR cars are quite a bit more horsepower than the GR cars.
Yeah. And a track like this with these long straightaways, that's definitely showing itself.
Yeah. You know, and as we talked about, for example, Mosport, as you've got the long and dready straight down at on the back end of the course, it'll probably show itself the same way. I think we may where we're going to probably see the cars running much more comparable lap times and maybe be a lot tighter with the TCR cars not able to work themselves clear as easily is going to be at Mid-Ohio. As we've got David Payton on the pit lane, and looks like Michael Klimovich didn't notice this, but Klimovich likely took on some damage, Larry, as he's been on the pit lane for a bit over 4 minutes now.
Okay.
Let's see. I think we've got. You can see exactly what happens in here. Here's Klimovich in the purple and black. As he runs
That's a bit wide. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
That is edge of the world coming there. That's a big berm, and
Yeah.
car's not happy.
Yeah, if he made it over that, he would have ended. I think he would have ended up on one of the other circuits.
Over the streets of Willow.
Yeah, he would have ended up on the streets. There are actually, I think, either 7 or 9. What is it now? 7 different tracks at Willow Springs. Obviously, this is the big one. Actually, I think the one that this was closer to, and you could kind of see back in the background over there on the outside of the sweeper, Larry, is the Horse Thief Mile, which I think is the newest circuit that is over there. But all of them considerably shorter than Big Willow here. Horse Thief Mile, I think, was only like about 1.5 miles. Streets is only 1.8.
Yeah. Well, things have tightened up a little bit in the TCRs, as it's still Violet, but you can see now Bailey Petrowski is closed all the way up, so all 3 in the front 3 are nose to tail now as they climb the hill to turn 4.
Small U in the chat says this track is straight up dangerous. Somebody's gonna go Dukes of Hazzard on the hill tonight. It's interesting that you should mention that, because there is one other thing that this track, or a couple things that this track is also known for besides its racing, is that because of its proximity to Los Angeles, Larry, here as both of our TCR leaders, as they're making their way through our leaders in club sport, they're flashing their headlights away there, and look at that, Bailey Petrowski right back in the battle. Because of the proximity to Los Angeles, there are a lot of over the years, a lot of car commercials have been shot here.
Yeah.
And when you see the do not attempt professional driver, or whatever the disclaimer is that they usually throw up on the screen, that's because they're racing, or they're driving and doing rollers here at Big Willow. And wasn't I guess, although he obviously passed away many years ago, Ford versus Ferrari, a lot of the on-track action was actually filmed here at Big Willow.
Because Riverside, apparently, it doesn't exist anymore.
Doesn't exist, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Had to find another California circuit.
I mean, I think every remaining circuit in California has nothing but sand and dirt around it anyhow. But yeah, exactly. Well, but again, it was also very interesting because Ken Miles actually did have a pretty big part in the original design of this circuit. So
yeah.
All right, so we've got Marlon Jones heading to the pit lane just as Chuck Labano drafts past Josh Vidal for the second time tonight. And if he can make it stick through turn 1, he'll be your new leader. And indeed, now let's, Larry, see if Chuck Labano can make it up to the balcony by staying on course. Looks like Chris Thorman may have had an off as he now drops back through the field a little bit more. Violet starting to open up a big, oh, not a big gap, but a little bit of a gap here, Larry and TCR.
Just a little bit again, but we've seen this happen before where he had opened up a gap and then Dragotta was able to close it. And then just a moment ago, we had seen all three of these cars no sail, and now it's opened up a gap again. So let's see if Dragotta and Petrowski can play nice long enough to catch back up to Violet.
Bailey, I wouldn't even consider that a look. He had, whereas Leo had his right tires pinned to the white line, driver's right, and Petrowski, I don't know, was maybe half an inch to the inside there.
More traffic ahead, though. That, I think, is the lead pack of the Club Sports, those GR86s. So I think that's going to probably slow. Depends on where Violet catches them.
Yeah, I think Violet might get him on the run down to turn 8, and if he does, it'll be just perfect timing.
He catches them in 8 and 9, though. I don't know if there's going to be anywhere to go.
Yeah.
And he may be forced to wait till they're on the front straight. Let's see how quickly he closes that up.
And Stacy Bertrand, who's in the chat, and hopefully we'll see a Rockefeller car in this series. Stacy says that this is their home track, and talking about the brand new circuit at Buttonwillow. And I've had the luck of calling some races already from the circuit. The new track that I think is like almost 10 years in the making, thanks to the Kangaroo Rats of California, or well, the fictional Kangaroo Rats.
You may have noticed Bailey Petrowski just came into the pits there as they went on by, so that could change things a little bit. We'll see what that does. Is Bailey's the first one of our front three to take to the pits?
Yeah, and and still early-ish, Larry, on lap number 25. As again, we see the pit window maybe extending all the way out to 30 laps. Takes that little bit of fuel and is back on the way. Is we're already past halfway now, 35 minutes into this 60-minute race. And since we're up at the top of the order, Larry, or top of the hour, let's do this. Let's take our break, and hopefully we'll catch the rest of our leaders when they come in for their pit stops here at Willow Springs Raceway. It is the season opener of season number 25 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Touring Car Cup, presented by the SCCA Foundation. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best-trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here.
with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
And welcome back to Willow Springs Raceway, season number 25 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Touring Car Cup presented by the SDK Foundation. And right there, as we are coming out of the break, Larry, Leo Dragota leapfrogs Eric Violette coming off the pit lane. They pitted in together, nose to tail. Their pit stalls were nose to tail, and Dragota was in his pit stall for 0.4 of a second, shorter period of time than I guess Violette and Petrowski out there now in the lead because, or actually Petrowski had already pitted in.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing now Dragota, your new leader.
Yeah. What I find interesting is that Violet actually the longest pit stop of the front three. And look what happens. He gets bumped to the back of these three. But Eric did say in the interview that this is a track position sort of race. And perhaps that's what Dragota is thinking as well. Let me get track position. If I got to save a little bit of fuel, I'll do it. And he's right now got the position he wants. Now he's got to go 21.5 minutes holding that position and getting through traffic. This could be interesting.
Yeah, and so do you think the amount of time on that back straight that he spent drafting up behind as we've got, oh, look at this, Larry, running wide.
That's an interesting pit entry.
Yeah, straighten it up, and the recovery is the pit lane. That was Lucas Dragota pitting in from, I think, 6th or thereabouts in Club Sport of the GR86 Cup cars. But yeah, I'm just wondering if the amount of time that Dragota was underneath the wing of Eric Violette, if that was enough fuel savings to make up for, to make up 0.4 of a second on the pits, on the pit window. And is he going to then, knowing that he's likely not going to be able to do much in the way of fuel savings with these two right behind him?
Yeah.
Is that going to be enough?
He'll have to find places to do it with traffic next to him without giving up the track position. So that'll be interesting as this race progresses into its third of the race we just started into. Right now, there's no traffic around. It's just those three TCRs by themselves for the moment. And we'll see if Dragota now continues at a pretty good pace, or does Violet and Petrowski close this up here in the next couple of corners.
All right, and so we did see in the pits, looked like Marlon Jones having some computer problems. He decided to park the car rather than possibly cause an incident. So it looks like his day is now done. He retires from 8th in TCR. And our 7 remaining drivers on track in TCR have all worked their way through their pit cycle. So it's Leo Dragota, Petrowski, Violette, your top 3. Travis Schwenke sitting, I think, almost 18 seconds back in 4th position. In the Club Sport class for our GR86 Cup cars, Labano, Sharp, Bennett yet to pit, and frankly, Schwenkler, Klimovich, Jacobs are top 6 in Club Sport yet to pit as well. Their pit window, they're working lap number 28 right now, and we think their pit window only extends for maybe another lap, Larry.
Well, we're going to see a flood of them coming in here pretty soon then, including these 3. Well, these 2. And there was one of them.
All right, that's Sharp pitting in, and so Labano and Bennett going to stay out on track. And no, Bennett's going to bring his car down the pit lane as well. He just now enters back of the shot there. He is quite a distance back. Of course, Bennett had that early spin, but, Larry, even that, for him to work his way up to 3rd in the field after having found himself looking down the hill, counter race early on. There is Robert Schwinkler coming in as well. And battle on, Larry and TCR.
It is. As Dragoda runs wide, Bailey gets right on his corner, can't do anything with it. Now they climb up to the top of the hill. Meanwhile, Violet's still a couple car lengths back. He's not a part of this one-on-one going here yet.
I just love watching these TCR cars as they try to navigate the turn 5, the left-hander past the balcony as they come down the hill, because there's some camber there at the apex. There's a little bit of a dip. It kind of, although it's a left-hander, it kind of reminds me of Hogpen at VIR, the way the car just kind of drops down, and you can feel in a front-wheel drive car when it's right, because you can just feel the front tires finally hook up right at the apex, and you can kind of just drop the throttle and power out, and it looks the exact same way in these cars here. You saw there, Bailey I think was expecting Dragoda to go as deep into that corner as he had when they were side by side like 15 laps ago, when they had that little bit of contact. Bailey having to apply and then reapply the brakes going into turn 3.
As we come up on 15 minutes to go in this thing, this battle is all the war we expected it would be and more.
And Larry, Violet got a hell of a run through 8 and 9 that last time through.
Yeah.
He ended up picking up like 3.5 car lengths, to the point where before they got onto the front straight, he was already tucked under the wing of Bailey Petrowski. And you could just kind of see he took a much wider set going into turn 8, whereas both Dragoda and Petrowski were, I think, protecting the inside quite a bit, and probably putting much more of a load on the front of the car.
Yeah, well, the order didn't change, though, now, as they go to the top of the hill past the Budweiser fans that are up there now and start heading back down the hill.
So I called a race from the Budweiser balcony up there.
Did you?
Yeah. It's everything it's cracked up to be, Larry, except it was completely empty and decrepit and falling apart when we were up there. I had to take a shower.
It's a beautiful place to watch from in the sim.
Oh yeah. I mean, the whole area there is wonderful, but again, frankly, the facilities are run down, I think, is probably the best way to put it.
There's hope. There's hope that maybe the new owners are going to work on it. That'd be great.
Yeah, I think so. Again, venture capital firm is the majority partner now. We've got Bailey Petrowski stepping to the outside, Eric Violet trying to decide whether to go with him or not. Petrowski goes and or Dragoda, pardon me, goes and covers as they came through turn 1. But Singer Automotive, Larry, who's been building, I don't want to call them replicas. They do Porsche resto mods. Yeah, I think probably the best way to put it. Yeah, gorgeous, and incredibly expensive, like $500,000 Porsche 911s.
Yeah.
Also a very large investor in the facility, which I think, although it doesn't give me hope for that the track won't become another one of these boutique club tracks. Or member, like when I say club, I mean like golf club, like a membership track. But they've been talking a good game that they want to get some of the major race series to come back here.
Sure, that'd be great.
If they can.
It would be awesome. Such a legendary facility. But speaking of legends, John has gotten his work magic done, and we can see the correct paint colors now. As
Oh my
there's the
gosh.
Orion livery in the lead there of Leo Dragotta. And then as I was talking about those M&M colors, there you go. Bailey Petrowski in the teal, and Eric Violet, of course, his classic violet colored car. So very cool.
Wow. And look at that. Petrowski was, it would have been a very low percentage move. He was taking a look to driver's right, to the outside of Dragotta, making the run down towards turn one. And all Dragotta had to do was move over about, I don't know, half a car width. I'm just wondering, though, if Petrowski keeps doing that and Dragotta goes to cover, that we might just see Petrowski throw it deep down to the inside going into turn one of these times. All the while, Eric Violet in the Violet D2D car there, the third car. I think he's, I don't know, Larry. I think he's trying to also figure out what Bailey's play is here, because Violet's been kind of counter programming. We're trying to take the opposite tact from Petrowski.
Yeah, Violet may be thinking he can save tires a little bit too, so he doesn't necessarily want to make the pass. He's going to let these two duke it out, knowing it's going to come down to the last 2 laps anyway.
And see how wide he goes, almost to the point of dropping wheels on the outside, coming through 8. And he's going to get a good run now as the top 3 cars split. Lucas Dragotta, and who is that along with Lucas? That's I think David Klimovich, yeah.
Wow, look at that. Look at Violet taking the opportunity to get past Petrowski into turn 1. So there's a change there. Violet no longer biding his time. Took that chance, splitting those 2 GR86 cars to now make 1 move. But now with 11 minutes to go, he's got 1 more to make. But where's the counter move coming from Bailey Petrowski?
Yeah, great move there by Violet, as he had more reaction time, was able to see everything unfolding in front of him much more quickly than either Leo Dragotta or Bailey Petrowski there, and took what he could. As we now are just about 10 minutes away from the checkered flag here in round number 1 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Touring Car Cup. All right, let's jump over to Club Sport for a second here, Larry, and check back in with our leaders, where as they completed their pit cycles, it is still Andrew Sharp and Chuck Labano. And like I said, look at this. I mean, he's 13 seconds back, but the fact that Brian Bennett was able to make his way all the way through the field and work his way up to third, even if he's really not in contention for the win at this point.
Yeah. Josh Vidal must have had some pit stop issues. He's dropped back down the order there, leaving this 2-way battle at the top. But 3-way battle at the top of TCR, still getting hot and heavy here with Leo Dragotta. Look at that nice tight line there for Eric Violet. Little wider entry, late apex there for Bailey Petrowski. All 3 of these guys trying different things to get their Hyundais around that turn 2.
And we had seen earlier in that section of the course area, I think I pointed out that Violet was, opening up turn 2, the exit of turn 2, much more. That I couldn't tell if he was fighting to get to the apex or not. Just probably saving the front tires for this part of the race.
Just interesting that the stewards have ruled a warning to car number 118 for blocking. Only a warning, but that is Leo Dragotta that's been given a warning from the stewards. They're watching this battle. I don't know exactly which corner, which move it was.
I'm guessing that was on the front straight, Larry, going into turn 1 again, as Bailey was taking those looks to the outside, and it was difficult to tell if he was making multiple moves. I guess they felt he was here as Chuck Labano goes down to the inside, coming up through turn 2 and up the hill on Andrew Sharp, and Labano clears him. He's your new leader.
Sharp had a good line there coming out of 1, but was not able to hold it through 2, giving the advantage to Labano. But Sharp continuing to try and push Labano off his line. We'll see how this battle continues to go, but very different lines, different strategies here. These two just battling it out. They've got a 16-second buffer. They can do whatever they want, not worried about being pressured with a third car. So this could be this kind of battle all the way to the end here for the next, we'll call it, I don't know, what are we at? Another 8 minutes?
Right now, clock hits 52 even, so 8 minutes remaining.
Yeah. And they might see our TCRs come through one more time. We'll have to see. Look how close Sharp is to the back of Labano as they get to that late apex here around the big sweep. And again, look at Sharp using a little bit of the gravel there at the exit of corner 9.
Yeah, but it actually, I was saying, it actually helped him out a little bit there, Larry, as he's able to open up the end of the corner there. And, you know, there are penalties for taking a number of off tracks here. And I'm trying to pick out that number again on what it is. I usually write it down, and of course didn't this time. I think it's, what, is it 12?
I forget the number.
Now we'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah. Oh, Violet trying to get underneath them here again. Not going to happen there, though.
Here we go. 20x. So essentially 20 off tracks or a combination of contact with other cars, and they'll lose a championship point if they get up to 20 points or 20x.
That's not that many in a race. It's going to go 40 odd laps. 20, that's only 1x per every 2 laps on a track like this where everyone's dropping tires at, you know, the final corner and a couple other spots. That's something they got to be watching for. Look at Violet here now, right underneath that deck lid of Leo Dragotta as they go in through the sweeper. Violet's trying to push Dragotta into a bad entry. Dragotta, good letting the car run out there. Violet nowhere to go except into him. Here comes Bailey Petrowski. Using the draft. Not enough, though.
And Dean, you're not wrong. When I have to give up flipping burgers to work this gig every Monday night, we've got to find some way to pay me. All right.
Yeah, this gig helps pay for tires. Maybe Dean ought to look into it. Coming up in 5 minutes to go. Maybe 3-ish laps, maybe a 4th lap. See how this works out. But do they have enough fuel? Does Leo Dragotta have to do any fuel saving? I'm assuming if he did, he would have had to already do it. It's too late now to think
probably already did it. Yeah. Much too late now as the clock's winding down. And, you know, again, this is the part of the course coming here into the final 2 turns, into turns 8 and 9, where we've seen Violet much stronger, so much the fact that he almost came right through Dragotta on the exit on the last corner. And this is the section here where he normally picks up the speed right at the apex. Good run out. Petrowski just mirroring what the number 89 machine does. And well, we'll see here as now Dragotta makes his one move, and Violet's going to try to come underneath him.
Did they touch?
I think they might have as Dragotta goes for a wild ride and now rejoins, and now it's the two D2D teammates.
Yeah, Petrowski taking the opportunity after maybe a touch between Violet and Dragotta. Petrowski's going to set himself nicely up here if he can break later than he did earlier in the move against Dragotta. And he does break a little later. Is it early enough? Barely, but he's going to hang on to that track position. Good move. Let's watch this replay of turn 1.
So there is
Violet making room.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's contact for sure. I think that's Dragotta turning into him, though. I don't think that's on Violet. The stewards are going to look at it, but my opinion is I think that's on Dragotta for turning in. I think, the race stewards already ruled no action to be taken.
No action. Yep.
Yeah, makes sense. But look at now, new leader, Bailey Petrowski, has not led a lap yet tonight. He's probably going to if he can finish through the sweeper here with about 4 minutes to go.
Closer to 3, Larry, as we're coming up on 57 minutes.
I can't add.
That's all right. As long as you can subtract, we're fine. All right, as they come down the front straight, and I think they've cleared most of the GR. Oh no, they haven't. I think our GR cars, the Club Sport cars, our leaders, are just ahead of them.
Oh, this is perfect timing. The leader's on leader action. No one's going to give up anything. Bailey's hoping he can get through and force then the two Club Sports to deal with his two rivals behind him. Bailey needs to get through it. Basically, the exit of the hairpin at the top of the hill. He needs to make it a clean exit to give himself an advantage. And you know that those two GR86s are not going to give an inch to anybody trying to lap them.
And Violet staying very clear. I was going to say staying very clear of those curbs, but Violet's starting to get a little sloppy, Larry, as he's starting to push the car a little bit harder. And I think he's maybe found the limits of what those front tires will do, to the point where now Leo Dragota is going to try to come underneath them here as they head down into turn number 8, and Violet has to give up the position.
But now Violet's going to get the better exit.
Cars.
Yeah, Violet's going to get the better exit, setting up for it and forcing Leo take a bad line. So Violet's going to be right underneath the back of Dragota by the time they get to turn 1. As long as there's not a Lobano in the way.
And he clears Lobano just before they head into turn 1, Larry, as we now have a minute and a half remaining on the clock. So I think, given where Bailey Petrowski is, I think we're going to have one more lap to go.
I didn't see a white flag. I wasn't looking for it, but I didn't see it. Petrowski, though, man of opportunity right now, jumping on it while the two behind him continue to fight. And I think Violet dropping a wheel coming through turn 5 the last time, or I guess it was turn 6, probably really is going to change the face of this race.
Yeah, I think so, Larry. It just at the wrong time had the front end washout on that car.
Yeah.
And we thought he had perhaps, given his experience with the TCR cars, would be able to make that car last to the end, and it turns out that he just ran him off at the wrong time.
And he's going to try to make up one position on Dragota, but I mean, 1.5 seconds in one lap is going to be a tough order here for Dragota or Violet. Violet's hoping to make it a 1-2 for D2D. He's got a good run through the sweeper here as they start the last lap of the race. There is one more GR86 up there for these guys to have to navigate.
And I think that's the Jeff Jacobs. Is that? No, that's not the Jacobs machine.
I think it's Tom Jenkins in the 68.
Yeah, Midfield Motorsports. Yep, indeed it is. It's a midfield car. And so we are working last lap right now. There is your TCR leader, Bailey Petrowski, as he works his way up the hill. He's now got almost 2 full seconds on Leo Dragota and Eric Violet, who are left to pick up the pieces and battle for second.
And now they're going to have to deal with Jenkins on the downhill. Let's see what happens here. Does Violet have one more move in him to get past the young rival from Orion and Leo Dragota? Meanwhile, our GR86 battle, Lobano's got about a full second on Sharp. We'll get to that one in a second. There you can see it as they're making their way through. They're just behind these guys. These guys will see a checker in a second. I don't know that Violet's got anything for one more run. Gonna try sending it. How much track exit does he use? All of it. Smart move by the young Dragota, holding his line, but Petrowski's gonna get the win.
There you go. So Bailey Petrowski, your winner in round number 1 in TCR. And in Club Sport, it's going to be Chuck Lobano as he returns to the podium, Larry. I think we were just talking to him about that in the
he thought he'd never
sports
get to
car series. Yeah. So there you go. He thought it was going to be a long time. Dragota finishes second. Violet finishes third in TCR, and in Club Sport, Sharp will finish second. Brian Bennett, who was our was Bennett our pole sitter, or actually Sharp was our pole sitter in Club Sport, but Brian Bennett, who had been leading this race early on. He works his way back up to third with Robert Schwenkler finishing in fourth. And it looks like Dean Dipdahl trying to register for the World Challenge. Dean, if you haven't already done so, it's /series/RWC. And hopefully we can get in there. Otherwise, we'll have to get
That'd be
Mr.
great to
Jacobs
get someone
involved.
like him in there. That'd be a lot of fun.
I totally
series.
agree. All right, so there you go. Petrowski, Dragota, Violet. It's Labano, Sharp, and Bennett. We're going to be back here in just a few moments to talk to some of our race winners here, where you've just seen round number 1 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Touring Car Cup presented by the SCCA Foundation. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Welcome back to Willow Springs Raceway, Big Willow, where you've just seen round number 1 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Touring Car Cup, presented by the SCCA Foundation. And our winners tonight in round number 1, Bailey Petrowski taking the win in TCR for D2D Sim Racing. His Orion nemesis, Leo Dragota, finishing second, Eric Violet third, with Travis Schwenke from Orion just off the podium. Then in Club Sport, it's Chuck Labano, your winner. For Frito Sport Racing, with Andrew Sharp, who I believe, Larry, finished second in the Club Sport Championship last season in the pro ranks. Brian, and for Rapid Theft Racing, I love that name. I mean, it just makes me feel like a criminal. Brian Bennett from Sector 5 finishing in third, with Robert Schwenkler finishing just off the podium. So let's do this. Let's take a look. We actually had Andrew Sharp sitting in the green room for a few moments. Rival. Yeah, and then he left. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring in our Club Sport winner tonight from Frito Sport, Chuck Labano.
All right, winning tonight in the Club Sport category in this GR86. You know, it feels like, Chuck, it feels like it's been a millennia since we last talked to you. We didn't think we'd ever get to talk to you again, but here you are in Victory Circle. How you feeling?
I think that was the running story last week, wasn't it? Just last week?
Yeah,
never again. But here we are. To be honest, I didn't think I would be here at all. If the rest of the season is as fun as this, Andrew and I had a great battle. I don't know what happened to Josh, but yeah, I was basically trying to push us away so I'd have a chance at a podium. That was what I was looking for today, but yeah, it looked like everything kind of worked out.
Yeah, that looked like a ton of fun with you, with Andrew early on, Brian Bennett in that group, and of course Josh, who we think had a pit stop issue or something. The four of you guys were just barn burning it out there. Unbelievable stuff. I mean, were you practicing with these guys this week? Could you tell that this was going to turn into that kind of a race?
No, I was a little more than worried because a lot of my practice was by myself. I didn't even have time with the TCRs, so I was basically just learning on the go. And I mean, my pace was good enough that I could at least stay with them and learn as they went. And that's kind of why I stayed at the end for a while, because part of it was the draft is amazing. I saved, I think, an extra lap of fuel. And yeah, these guys' pace were good, and I just wanted to do a little pushing to see what happened.
Yeah, well, it was awesome to watch you guys at every turn. Somebody was hanging 4 tires off and coming back and hanging them off the other side, and you guys were just battling and swapping. We lost count how many times you guys swapped the lead, but in the end, an hour into this thing, checker flag flies, and it's the Frito Sport taking the win. I mean, how's that feel for you? How's your teammates? Are they cheering you on pretty good?
Well, it feels pretty good, especially since I think one of those near-death experiences was my fault. I could have taken all 3 of us out. But no, I had a little inspiration from my paint guru here, Tom. He's in my chat, and he won his Road America 500. So the pressure's on literally to keep up with him now. So that is the goal. Whatever he does, I try and do it. At least copy him. He's almost as good. Yeah.
Well, it's off to a great start. One event in the season. Here you are in Victor's Circle taking home a win. But I know you've got friends and family and others you probably want to give a shout out to.
Yeah, my wife, who has gone from pit bunny to crew chief. She keeps me nice and cool as I start heating up. She brings me beverages, and she's starting to make strategy calls. Of course,
Nice.
Edgar for putting this team together. He did a great job. I'd love to see him more in here, but we'll cross that bridge when we can. Of course, Tom, I've mentioned, he did the paints. I get the nice, cool, what is it, the Bath Pro look-alike Earnhardt edition. And the rest of the guys, Matt Thompson, he's really good with the setups. I had a smoking setup tonight, man. It felt really good. I felt like I could pass him anytime I wanted. So yeah. If the rest of the season is like this, man, I'm gonna be pretty happy.
Yeah, it looked great. Looked like so much fun, and I can't wait for the next round. But tonight you get to go savor a victory here with your Frito Sport teammates and your crew chief. Getting the win here at the first round of the season. It's Chuck Labano. Congrats.
Thanks.
All right, Larry, let's move over to the TCR class, where I'm concerned because, he already has a history with us doing these interviews, but he didn't have any of the sponsors on the side of his car either. Let's bring in Bailey Petrowski from D2D Sim Racing, your winner tonight in round number 1 in TCR.
All right, Bailey Petrowski, and boy, the 3 of you, it was going to be a complete just crapshoot of who was going to end up with a victory here tonight. Apparently, you're the guy. The other 2 had their issues down the stretch, but unbelievable stuff. You take the lead there with a couple laps to go, where you're just saying, hey, thanks for the gift, and looking in your mirror saying, when are you coming back?
Pretty much. But as well, with how close our pace was between the 3 of us, I figured as long as there wasn't any big traffic getting in my way, I probably could maintain at the very least, as long as I didn't make any big mistakes. So it's kind of just put your head down, try not to overthink it, just focus on the driving, and what happens happens. But that was such a fight. I felt like most of that race I was just fighting to keep up with everyone, and then towards the end I think I saved some of my tires early on to allow me to push a little bit more at the end, which really helped. But that was a big fight for that race.
Yeah, it was amazing to watch. All 3 of you guys, all deserved wins. Obviously, only one of you can get it. In the final stretches, you had the pace. But I got to ask, who did your paints tonight? Because these M&M's looking things, everybody, the solid colors got us all confused. Where's the commonality of a D2D paint team? Who did this?
Yeah, so that was a job that Eric did, I think, last night. Because Bobby's been in the process of moving for the last, I think, week. So he normally handles our paints, and we didn't realize we didn't have paints until the other night. So he put that together last second, and
We're all
I
saying
haven't.
is we miss Bobby.
Yeah, we're not
Hey,
trained
now.
in this, but to be fair, it took that was like a 5-minute job that he did. So I haven't seen it, but I think it turned out pretty good for
It looks
considering
every
that.
bit as a 5-minute job. At least we can tell which cars were the D2Ds. It's the ones with no livery on them. They're just a solid color. Makes it easy for us. Once we figured out our paints issues, we got that sorted out. But it doesn't matter. Any livery, you were still going to get the win here tonight. And it looked like just a ton of fun. I'm excited about the rest of this season. Seeing you up against Eric, it's maybe not your strength. We know it's Eric's strength, but the battles are great. And even watching Leo Jagoda in there, is this what you anticipated? Was this kind of a race with the three of you? Or were you thinking maybe Eric was going to run away or something else?
This is what I was hoping for, but I didn't expect it to be as close as it was. I knew from practice that we wouldn't be able to pull away from each other without the help of traffic, just with how much the tow does on these straights. But yeah, I don't think I could have ever predicted that. I'm not used to battling people for almost an hour straight, so it's a bit different for me. But I'm really looking forward to the season if this is how it's going.
Oh, we are too. This was a lot of fun. But tonight, it's your victory. And I know you've got a long list of sponsors and teammates you want to probably give a thank to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I want to thank Ricmotech, or is it? Oh crap! Is it? I didn't pull it up for this series. Wait a second. I believe they're still a sponsor for this series. Okay, Ricmotech.
I'll give you that one.
Okay. I want to thank the SDK Foundation for putting in their support as always. Thank you guys at Apex Racing. I definitely want to thank all of D2D. We definitely miss having Bobby doing our paints, and we'll look forward to having him back and having back driving. But also just thank you to Eric for all of the work he puts into this series, to this car, and the amount of time I spent with him putting practice into this is just always great driving with him, and he absolutely had the pace tonight to win it, so it's unfortunate what happened, but we were fighting hard, and that's what happens sometimes. I want to thank all the family that's watching as well. Shout out to my dad as well, because it is his birthday today. And thank you guys for commentating on these races.
All right, well, awesome night tonight for D2D Sim Racing. Your overall winner here in TCR, Bailey Petrowski. Round 1. Awesome job.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
All right, have a good one, Bailey. Thank you. All right, Larry. So that wraps up round number 1 of the Touring Car Cup. Let's take a look again at what we've got coming up in the next few weeks. Next week, Monday night, May 5th, it's 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time. It is the season opener of round number 13 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge from Fuji. And if you'd like to get yourself on the grid for the World Challenge, you'll probably have much better luck than Dean Dibdahl. If you go to xmsracing.com/series/RWC, there'll be a big button at the bottom of the screen there for you to sign up and get yourself on grid in either GTP, LMP2, or GT3. And then in 2 weeks, the Touring Car Cup heads to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for round number 2. And then in 3 weeks, the World Challenge heads to Road Atlanta. Should also mention that we have the Extreme Motorsports IndyCar Championship Series starting May 1st. And running every Thursday, so starting this Thursday night on, as Johnny Carson used to say, another network. If you'd like to sign up, and if you'd like to run an IndyCar with us, it's xmsracing.com/series/ICS. All right, so for Larry Lefty McLeod, who I only called Brian once tonight, and Jonathan Grabowski, I'm Greg Ginsburg. We'll see you next Monday night from Fuji. Have a great week, everybody.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.